Duel Season 2 tier list. What are the best decks? What should you be watching out for? Without further ado, let's begin. What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Sam from Team Salamangreat here. Happy Monday. Guys, it's Monday. Make sure you guys have a productive week. Anyways, guys, today I'm coming at you guys with Master Duel Season 2 tier list. I'm gonna show you guys the best deck, talk to you guys about some cool strategies that you guys should expect in the platinum gold ranks of Master Duel. At the end of the day, it's completely my opinion on what I think are the best deck. Don't cry, but if you cry, just cry about it. Anyways, yesterday was the Red Eyes video. Here is the winner for the $50 giveaway. If you are the winner, please email me at giveaway@tx1.com and make sure you tell me what system you play on and send proof of your account. Screenshot the screen that you are the winner and let me know what region you're in and what system you play on, okay? And today I'm giving out $50 worth of free gems again. All you guys gotta do is simple. Be subscribed to the channel, like the video, turn on the notification bell, and leave a comment on what your favorite deck in Master Duel is right now. And one lucky winner will be selected in the next Master Duel video. All right, guys, without further ado, let's jump into the tier list. Anyways, I'm gonna be fair and super duper unbiased when it comes to all these decks right here. If I'm missing anything, please make sure you guys leave in the comments below and let me know for those decks that I'm missing what tier they belong in. So without further ado, let's begin. Let's take out the elephant in the room right now. We're gonna first start off with Eldlich. Eldlich the Golden Lord, absolutely powerful. This deck is just absolutely trash. It's just going the garbage rogue tier. I hate this deck. Obviously, Eldlich is tier 1. This deck is absolutely phenomenal. It's one of those decks that can play a ton of Floodgate, and one of the best Floodgates in the game right now is Skill Drain. Flip Skill Drain, you basically win the duel. You guys know Imperial Order? Imperial Order is a trap card for spells, right? Yes, Skill Drain is a trap card for monster effects. Have fun beating Eldlich with 3 Skill Drains. And the deck is based at full power. Nothing has been touched in the entire deck. The deck is super consistent, and they have an amazing grind game. So Eldlich 100% needs to be in tier 1. Next, we got Zoodiac, a deck that's very, very powerful. Definitely deserves to be in the tier 1 tier. It's one of those decks that relies on one-card combos. Any Zoodiac monsters gets you access to Dryden, and Dryden is one of those monsters you can easily access as a 1 interruption type card using any Zoodiac monster, and Dryden can be easily recyclable with cards like Shakanine that they do play in their main deck. Also, at the same time, Pot of Avarice is at 3 in the Master Duel ban list, so you can easily recycle cards like Dryden like no tomorrow. Since Zoodiac is one of those decks that can easily dump their graveyard with their Xyz monsters, Pot of Avarice works really well with this deck. And also at the same time, this deck is so good because they made deck a ton of hand traps, so it's really good at going second, and going first it sets up easy interruptions. Also at the same time, this deck has access to Zeus, which is absolutely insane. I absolutely hate Drytron, but this deck is definitely a tier 1 deck. Next, we got Lyralusc Tri-Brigade. This deck is definitely a tier 1 deck, 100,000%. I see this deck everywhere when it comes to platinum ranked in Master Duel. It's a very powerful deck, super duper consistent, has consistent combos, can set up a bunch of negates, and combining Lyralusc with Tri-Brigades is just literally a recipe for disaster. The deck is actually really powerful, and I believe it's a really solid tier 1 deck for Master Duel Season 2. Next, we got Dinosaurs. Honestly, I'm going to put this deck as a tier 1 deck, and I'm not even being biased here, even though I play this deck 24/7 on Master Duel, but people do not understand how powerful Miscellaneous Swords is. I don't understand why people think this deck is a rogue deck or a tier 2 deck or a B tier deck. If you think this deck isn't tier 1, like, you need help, like, for real. Like, I'm sorry. Especially in a format that's best of 1, Dinosaurs is insane. It can go first, and especially can go second. It has a really crazy, insane going second matchup with Miss, which is ridiculous, which is at 3. Have you read Miss? Have you read Miscellaneous Source? Also, at the same time, this deck also has access to VFD, the true king of all calamities. You can easily make it with Diagram in your deck. Lithogasm is at 3. Okay, you guys know Lithosagim? The card, the Earth True King. This card right here is at 3, which can pop babies and go off with your combo plays. 10 on Trish VFD, which is insane. But pure Dinosaurs alone, which is Miscellaneous Source, even though Raptor's at 2, this deck is still really powerful. Going second matchup, you can easily combat decks like Drytrons and Max C, Dark Rule No More, Droplets, Lightning Storm. Now that can play a bunch of going second cards, and if it goes first, Misk Baby sets you up Dolka, Pankratops, and Ultimate Conductor Triangle with absolute ease, right? So the deck is just super duper strong, super duper underrated, and I think it's one of the best tier 1 decks in Master Duel right now. Let's eliminate some decks here. So we got Rogue tier. We're starting out with Monarchs. It's a really powerful deck, even though the Pantheism is at 3. The deck also has the Domain Lock and Monarchs Erupt, which is absolutely devastating. But the main issue with Monarchs is that this deck bricks like crazy. Shaddolls, very, very powerful. But I think that It's a rogue tier deck. I haven't seen this deck running around a lot in platinum ranked. Obviously in the lower tiers like gold or silver, you're going to see a lot of Shaddolls. The deck is still really powerful. Window is very, very strong, but in comparison to all these other decks out there, I'm going to have to put Shaddoll in a rogue tier category. And you know what? A high rogue. Like I'm going to put Shaddoll in a high rogue category, which is still pretty decent. Remember, guys, any deck that I put in rogue tier doesn't mean that they're trash. It just means that they're not as played as all these other decks, right? At the end of the day, I'm here to educate you guys on what to look out for when it comes to Master Duel Season 2. Next, we got Salads right here. I haven't seen this deck a lot as well in Master Duel, except when I'm in, you know, silver tier. But other than that, the deck is still pretty nice. Sunlight Wolf, Roar, Rage is pretty good. It's just not as powerful as all these other decks. When it was like Salads and Strikers, obviously it was like the best deck, but there was no, you know, there was no Drytrons or, you know, Eldlich or, you know, Alistair the Invoker. Oh my god, where do I put this? 100% Alistair normal summons tier 2, one of the easiest deck to play. I personally don't like this deck. I feel like the ceiling of this deck is very, very weak. Combining it with Dogmatika is pretty good, but other than that, man, the deck just has a really low ceiling. It doesn't really do anything until Destroyer, Phoenix, Enforcer comes out. So if that comes out here in Master Duel, you know, Virtual World 100% I need to put in tier 1.5. This deck is really powerful, and the main key of Virtual World is that obviously not only does it have the interruption with Chuche, but it also gets access to True King of all Calamities. So the deck is really, really good. Obviously, it's one of those combo decks that kind of like hard lose to Maxi, but it's like every combo deck loses to Maxi, right? So obviously decks like Drytrons can easily counter Maxi with cards like Herald the Orange Light, whereas Virtual World don't really have that main deck out to Maxi unless they play, you know, the Gamma. Next, okay, we're gonna go with Pendulums. This can be Endymions, Magicians. I'm gonna put this deck as a tier 1.5 deck. I love this deck. I think it's really, really powerful, but the only thing that's really hard about Pendulums is that it's super duper difficult to pilot. Unless you're Triff or you actually know how to perfectly pilot this deck can just even be in tier 1 category, which is insane, right? So Electrum is just really broken. Astrograph is also in Master Duel, so being able to just Electrum Astrograph is insane. It can pull up a bunch of negates, going first, going second, and easily break boards in a best of 1 format where not everybody's main decking anti-spell. You know what I'm saying? Like, Pendulums are really, really powerful. Next, for the rogue tier, we got Madolche. The deck is very powerful, I'm not gonna lie, but it is a rogue deck in comparison to all these other decks right here. As you guys see on the tier list, it is really powerful, and one key thing I want you guys to take is that this deck can easily recycle Maxi every single turn, which is ridiculous. Also, at the same time, their OTK power in this deck is just insanity. Next, we got Dragonmaids. The deck is pretty decent. It's a cute deck, but it is a rogue deck, and it's not as powerful to all the decks I listed in this tier list. Next, we got Heroes. I'm gonna put this deck as a tier 2 because Dark Law is really, really powerful. The deck is super duper consistent, especially with 3 hero lives, 3 e-calls. Like, the deck is super explosive. It can easily break boards while going second and going first. Dark Law can literally beat down every single deck. Like Drytron, sorry, okay? Tri-Brigades, I'm sorry. Literally, Dark Law is the law. But the only main issue with Heroes is that it has no main deck built-in negate, so it's really susceptible to cards in Nibiru, and once you get nibbed, you know what I'm saying, it's over. Next, we got Adamancipators right here. This deck is very, very powerful. Block Dragon is at 3. I actually want to put this deck in a tier 1 category, actually. Like, do you guys understand how powerful Block Dragon is, right? It's a card that can literally search 3 cards directly from your deck to your hand. It is not a once per turn. It is not a once per turn summon from the graveyard, which is absolutely insane. And it's one of those cards that you 100% gotta watch out for, especially Adamancipators. The deck is very explosive. It can special summon a bunch, easily OTK, easy setup, first turn disruption with Block Dragon IP. There are so many different things the deck can do, and what the deck can have access to. The deck is really, really scary. Next tier 1.5, tier 2. I don't think Strikers are that good, to be honest. High tier 2. I think so. Like, the deck is nice. Engage is really good. You know what I'm saying? Engage is great. Draws a bunch of cards, but Kagari's still at 1. And I feel like all these other decks that are just above it just overshadow Strikers. Regardless, Widow Anger, Engage, Kagari, Shizuku, the deck can do a lot. Imperial Order destroys this deck, that's 1. And number 2, it just gets overshadowed by all the other decks. Cyber Dragon is definitely rogue tier. Regardless, I love Cyber Dragons, but I feel like it just gets overshadowed by all these decks, and especially if you're playing a going second deck, right? Cyber Dragons, in comparison to like Dinosaurs, like, what would you want to play? You know, like Dinosaurs, you have Mist. Cyber Dragons, like, you don't really have anything to interact with other than, especially with Cyber Dragons. Just trying to mega complete your opponent while going second is pretty cute. But other than that, like, it isn't really beneficial if your opponent is not playing a heavily based Link deck, right? So against Sky Strikers, Cyber Dragon literally destroys with eyes closed. But against any other deck, I feel like this deck isn't as great going second. Next, we got Tri-Brigade. Just put this as tier 1.5. The deck is still really powerful. Honestly, the first we got Lyralusc Tri-Brigades, just like pure Tri-Brigades and Tri-Brigade Zoo, I guess, whatever you guys want to categorize it. But Tri-Brigade's still really consistent deck. Can play a bunch of hand traps in the main, and getting access to, of course, your extra deck for absolutely free by banishing cards in the graveyard to summon Shurag or things like that is absolutely powerful. Tri-Brigades combining itself off with Lyralusc and also Zoodiacs can become very, very powerful. But Tri-Brigade as a pure deck, I think is definitely a tier 1.5 deck, 100,000% for the Season 2 Master Duel ban list. Next, this deck is very powerful. 100% needs to be access codes or code talkers right here. Deck is a rogue tier deck, even though the deck is super duper powerful. Some of these decks just get overpowered by the decks that are on top of them. You know what I'm saying? It just gets better on top. Burning Abyss. The only person I know that play Burning Abyss is Farfa. This deck is absolutely trash. All joking aside, Beaches at 3, super duper consistent. Tour Guides at 3. Also at the same time, Fairy Tale Snow. You're going to add on your first board with a bunch of hand traps, the IP Masquerena, Beatrice, Fairy Tale Snow, and Grave. It's pretty awesome regardless, but it's definitely a rogue deck still, regardless. Next, we're on to Prank Kids, 100,000% tier 1.5. The deck is super duper explosive. One card combos can end up in multiple interruptions. It's a really powerful fusion deck. I recommend you guys trying it out. And Mia Mia Moo is just absolutely insane and just makes Prank Kids a 1.5 tier deck. So good. Next, we got Dragon Link. I haven't seen Dragon Link a lot, but I feel like it deserves to be high tier 2, tier 1.5. Let's just put it like high tier 2, I guess. There are just way better combo decks out there in comparison to Dragon Link and Drytrons. Drytrons are 100% much scarier. But power level wise, I think these decks are just a little bit more powerful than Dragon Link. Next, we got SPYRALs. I don't see a lot of people playing this deck right here, but this deck is insane. You guys know Master Plan and Sleeper is a very powerful combo, right? One of the best combo decks in the game. If you guys remember this deck being the TCG, the deck is absolutely devastating. It's super duper powerful. Next, we got Phantom Knights, 100% a tier 1.5 deck. The deck is very powerful, consistent. Set up a bunch of negates. Appaloosa, Rusty, a bunch of negates, super duper consistent. 1.5 to 2 card combo deck. The deck is just absolutely powerful. Next, we got Thunder Dragons. I feel like this deck is a really sleeper tier 2 deck as well. Colossus is very broken. It's a card that doesn't allow your opponent to search. Literally locks your opponent from doing something in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! So Colossus, very powerful. Thunder Dragons is insane. Next, we got Orcust, definitely a high tier 2. I think Orcust is really good, especially combining off with Sky Strikers. Very powerful, sets up IP Dingirsu on the very first turn, and combining itself off with Engage, Kagari, Hornet Drones. The deck is just very, very powerful. Easily can break boards, super duper consistent because of Harp Horror. As long as Harp Horror is in the meta, I believe the deck is always going to be 100% viable. Next, we got True Draco. I think this deck right here is a tier 1.5 deck. I think it's like one of the best stun decks outside from Eldlich. If you don't want to play Eldlich, you should be playing True Draco. This deck is insane. Diagram is broken. Dynamite. You can also play 3 Card of the Demise, which is insane. The deck is relatively budget. You can play Skill Drain, Goals and Match. Literally, if you want to play a Floodgate-based deck where you literally say no to your opponent can't play Yu-Gi-Oh! Whatsoever, this deck is the deck for you. Last but not least, we're going to go with Dark Magician and Blue Eyes. Obviously, man, just to show respect to these 2 decks. You know, like you got to respect the OGs. There should be no category for these 2 godliness. Anyway, guys, that's pretty much it for my tier list. This is what I have so far with the decks that I've encountered and the decks that I've been seeing all over Platinum. And the reason why tier lists are important is because it differentiates the difference between power levels when all powerful decks get together. Just because they're in Rogue tier doesn't mean they're garbage. All right, guys, you can play any deck that you want in Master Duel. Even though I categorize the decks in different tiers, which is completely my opinion, it doesn't mean your decks are bad. If you're playing DDDs and you think it's a tier 1 deck, it's a tier 1 deck to your hearts, man. But I just want to let you guys know, I just want to inform you guys that if you guys are in Platinum tier for Season 2, these are the decks to expect. If I'm missing any other deck, make sure you guys leave it in the comment section below. Remember to enter the giveaway, guys. All you guys gotta do is be subscribed to the channel, like the video, turn on the notification bell, and leave a comment on what your favorite deck in Master Duel is right now. And you guys will have a chance to win $50 worth of free gems on whatever system that you play on. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I love you guys so much, and these are the decks to expect in Season 2 of Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is your boy Sam from Team Sam signing out. All right, guys. Peace.